This is problem 45, and we want to determine if these two matrices are inverses. That means if we multiply these together, like if this is A and this is B, if we multiply these together, AB, would we get I? Now these are 2 by 2, so this would be this matrix here, 1, 0, 0, 1. If that happens, these are called inverses of each other. Just like if you had 4 times 1/4, you get 1. They're inverses of each other. Now we can set this up like this. All right, we're going to have 3, -1, -1, 1/2, and 1, 2, 2, 6. That doesn't look like a very good 1. And when we multiply, we're going to do what? First row, first column. So we're going to get 3 times 1 plus -1 times 2. So we're going to get 3 times 1 plus -1 times 2. Then, first row, second column, 3 times 2 plus -1 times 6. So 3 times 2 plus -1 times 6. Then down here in row 2, column 1, right, we're going to use row 2, column 1. We're going to get -1 times 1 plus 1/2 times 2, right? -1 times 1 plus 1/2 times 2. And then finally, we will get, okay, this row, this column, second row, second column, -1 times 2 plus 1/2 times 6. Now, I'll write it right here. This is going to give us what? What do you get here? Let's just do this. What do you get? 3 and -2? 3 plus -2 is 1. Over here, we get what? 6 and -6, so that's a 0. Then here, we get -1 and half of 2 is 1. 1 and, right, -1 and 1, well, that's a 0. And then finally, we'll get -2 and half of 6, which is 3. 3 minus 2 is a 1. So sure enough, we get the identity. So A and B, let's just say, A and B are inverses. Well, they're inverses, but more of that, they're inverses of each other. We have to finish it off. Of each other. Now, if you want to do this in Wolfram Alpha, okay, so if you're going to do this in Wolfram Alpha, here's what you would type. Right, open up the first matrix. Well, they're going to be the same size, right? So the first row would be, now I'm going to input this one here. So I'm going to input, I type in a 3, -1, close, that's the first row, comma. The second row would be -1, 1/2, like that. Okay, close it. That's the first matrix. Then I'd put a time sign, or I don't really need the time sign. Wolfram Alpha will know what to do. Then you put the second matrix in. So you start with that square bracket. That opens the matrix. Now you put in that first row. 1, 2, close that row with a comma, separate them, and then 2, 6, close that, and then close that matrix. Press equal, and you will end up with that one right there, the identity.